everyone, it's Bryony. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing a video on how I've managed to stop my extremely painful periods. So for those of you that have been following me for a while, you've probably seen my period vlogs. That's when I just take my vlogging camera and vlog throughout my period, what I'm doing, what I'm feeling, all that kind of stuff. And you'll know that I have had some periods where I've been in a lot of pain. I've even ended up in hospital before. I've been admitted to hospital for period pain because they were worried it was like a twisted ovary or something. But either way, I have had very painful periods. And earlier this year in January, I was finally diagnosed with a condition called adenomyosis. This basically means that the lining of my uterus, my endometrium, has started growing into the muscle of my uterus, making it very bulky. And this was diagnosed using a vaginal ultrasound. They also found a fibroid, and I did a video specifically on how I got to this diagnosis and kind of the whole process of that in another video called I Finally Have a Diagnosis. So if you want to see more detail about that, go and check that out. My gynecologist said he couldn't rule out that I had endometriosis as well because I would need to have a laparoscopy to rule that out, but there was no sign of it there being very severe if I would have had it. There was no like fluid loose in my pelvis or anything like that, no increased blood flow around my uterus, so that at least was good, but it doesn't rule it out. I could still have endometriosis as well. And adenomyosis and endometriosis are kind of like cousins or sisters because they're both where the lining of the uterus grows where it shouldn't. So if the stuff that I've been doing has worked for adenomyosis, there's a good chance it may also work for endometriosis as well. So for those of you suffering with that, please stay tuned and I'll let you know what I've been doing. So I'm going to be talking about these supplements that I've been taking that have helped. And before I go any further, I do just really quickly want to say it's really important you do your own research and look into any supplement before you take it. Don't base this just off of what I'm saying. Go and do your own research. Go and check with your doctor as well that it's safe to take, particularly if you're taking other medication too. I'm just basically going to be sharing what's worked for me because I know how painful and how frustrating it can be and how disruptive it can be to your life to have extremely painful periods. And if any of this stuff can help someone else, and that's really what I'm doing it for, but I do not want to pretend that I am a doctor or anything. I can't give you any medical advice or anything like that, so please do bear that in mind and use common sense before taking anything. So without further ado, let's get into this video, which has been so highly requested. I've kept putting it off because I've kept like tweaking supplements and trying different things just to make sure I've got it just right, and I think the truth is I'm going to keep on tweaking it throughout many months, and I could just go on and on with that. So this is what I'm currently taking right now and what is working. I might be able to improve it even more and I'll change them around in a few months, but this is what I've been taking for the last 5 or 6 months. So before I took these supplements, I tried so many different treatments. In fact, I'm just going to list them here because if I was to actually physically go through them all, it would take quite a while. So I'm just going to put a whole list here of all the different things that I tried before I moved to these supplements. So I've done a lot of things and they didn't work. So I highly, highly doubt this is a placebo effect. Could still be, but I really don't care because it's been working for me. I also want to say that this hasn't completely stopped my period pain, but it has brought it down to a way more manageable level. Like before I started taking these, I could be on cocodamol, I could be on naproxen, I was on like the strongest drugs that you could have for pain meds, and they would make me feel really sick and they'd upset my stomach and all sorts of stuff, yeah. La, 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 you know the drill. But now I can survive my period with 1 pack of ibuprofen, like Nurofen. That's it. Like not even like the 2 little foil packs inside. Like sometimes I can go with just one of those packs, which I think has like 2, 4, 6, has like 8 tablets in it for like a whole period. I could get through that in a day. Well, maybe not a day, but like, you know what I mean? It wouldn't last that long before. So it's brought it down to a way more manageable level. And instead of having to take pain meds every 2 hours, sometimes I can go like 6 or 7 hours or even 8 hours without taking anything, which is crazy. I also do want to mention that I eat a plant-based diet, which when I first went plant-based really, really helped with my period pain as well. That brought it down to manageable levels. But after a while, that sort of wore off. I'd say after about 5 months, that kind of wore off and they gradually got worse again, even though I was kind of eating the same stuff. So I did want to mention that as well. Being plant-based and cutting out as much dairy and meat as you can will also really help you with your period, so bear that in mind. But on top of that, this stuff also does seem to do a good job. So the first supplement I'm going to show you is magnesium. So I'm going to say as well, I take quite a few supplements because I've got other conditions as well, like Lyme disease and Gilbert syndrome. But they don't tend to affect my period, so I'm only going to show the ones that have an effect on my period. So magnesium, this is 500 milligrams and it also has B6 in it. It's a vegetarian and vegan capsule. I like this one because it does actually come in a capsule like this, as opposed to a tablet. I don't like the tablets, what they're coated and stuff, and I don't think they're as good. So yeah, I just take this one. This is the one that seems to work best for me. I've tried many brands. I have a very big magnesium deficiency, so I always have to take magnesium no matter what, but this also helps with like your bowel movements, keeping everything more relaxed, and it's a muscle relaxant as well, so magnesium is very important. It is also a good idea to take magnesium in through your skin, so either soak in Epsom salts in the bath, I always do that as well on my period, and get a magnesium oil spray and spray it on your body. Don't put it on anywhere like you've got eczema or anything, that will sting like crazy, trust me. But spray it on your body and just leave it on for about 20 minutes and then you wash it off basically. But that can also be really good for getting magnesium absorbed into your body. It's better through the skin than through a tablet, but it's a little bit easier to take in a tablet, so I'd combine both if I were you. The next supplement I'm going to show you is one of the best ones that's helped me. This is called Bio-selenium plus Zinc Tablets. Originally, I started taking this tablet actually not for the Bio-selenium, but for the zinc. It's got 15 milligrams of zinc in each tablet. I had read a scientific study that was done in Africa where the scientists had given a group of women a zinc supplement, and it wasn't actually for menstrual problems. I can't remember exactly what it was they were treating. I think it was like malnutrition, or it was like stronger bone density or something or other. But 9 out of 10 women said that as a side effect, they got less painful periods. And he was just, what's the word? He hypothesized on what that would be, but it was quite a small study. But he did say you needed to take at least 30 milligrams a day to make it work. So this is 15 milligrams, but I'm very sensitive to zinc. I feel very, very sick if I take too much zinc. So I decided to start at a lower dose, and if it was okay, I'd take 2 tablets. But actually, 1 tablet of this seems to do the trick. I've also read somewhere that zinc has been theorized to help with shrinking fibroids. So if you've got fibroids, it might be worth looking into that. But I couldn't find a scientific study based on that, so I wouldn't believe that too easily without any more evidence. But that was interesting because I do have a fibroid. It's very small, it's only like 2 centimeters, and it's not really interfering with my periods. But I was curious to see if it would help with that. So that's one of the other reasons I wanted to take this one. But this also has vitamin C, vitamin E, and vitamin B6. And what this tablet has really done for me is it has sorted out my like IBS problems I was having. So because of the Lyme disease, I was getting these symptoms kind of like IBS, like really painful gas, painful bowel movements, like either constipation or diarrhea, but nothing in between. It's horrible and was really disrupting my life as well at one point. And this just seemed to solve it. Like I rarely ever get gassy now, and I don't get really like constipated. That's what this has mainly solved, really bad constipation. Because I noticed when I was on my period, it was like when I needed to pass a stool in the morning, that's when the intense pain would hit, because like I was pressing on my uterus with my inflamed intestine, and just the two together were not fun. That's why I ended up in hospital on Boxing Day last year. So I thought, I've got to solve that, and this is the tablet that solved it. I haven't said what the prices are for any of these because they're going to vary depending on where you are in the world, but I think you can get a pack of 90 of these. I usually buy them in a pack of 90 for around £12. So that's 3 months supply, which is pretty good. So this one, if you have bowel problems or anything like that, definitely recommend that you have a look into this and see if it works for you. And the next thing, and this is the one that has really been the main thing for my period pain. This is Quai. Some of you may have heard of this before. It's often referred to as like the female ginseng. But basically what Quai does is it helps to stop clotting. And I decided to take this after I think it was actually earlier this year, after I got my diagnosis. I was just taking the strong pain meds I've been given, but they weren't really working. And there was one day where it was getting really bad, and I'd taken some pain meds, and it was like 10 minutes later, I'd got in the bath because, you know, they were quite bad, and I had this wave of cramping, like almost like a contraction. That's the only way I can really describe it, is being like a contraction. And it kind of came on, and I had to like grit my teeth for 10 seconds, and it wore away, and I was like, that's good. But afterwards, about 2 seconds later, I looked down and I realised there was this massive clot just floating in the bath. And I was like, wait, did I just pass that? I must have just passed that. Picked it up, and it was about the length of my finger. It was actually like quite thin, so I think if it was rolled up, it wouldn't have been that big. But it was like the length of my finger, and I think I'd essentially been giving birth to this little blood clot. Well, it's not that little, but this blood clot. And it was definitely like tissue, like the lining of my uterus, and I felt it as well because I was curious as to what it was. And then I thought, hang on a second, I bet that some of these really painful cramps are because I'm passing these clots. And I'd already taken Dong Quai a few years ago out of curiosity when I had some dark red and black clots, and I read a book that said this could stop it, and it worked. So I thought, well, that's easy, I can just start taking this again. So what I do with this is Dong Quai comes in like it's a tincture basically. It looks like this. Tastes absolutely vile. And that is the reason that when I take this, I take it in a vegetarian capsule. So basically, this is the size 1. That's quite a small size. You can actually go one size smaller as well, size 0 if you're not good with tablets. But what I do, I'm not going to do it right now because I'm about to have dinner and I'll make it afterwards. But I take the clear, it's just a clear little capsule like this. You can take it apart. And I just put about 10 to 13 drops in here, put the capsule back on, and then I swallow it with food. And I always take all of these supplements at night time with my dinner. Never take them on their own unless they specifically say to take them on their own. You should always take them with food. But yeah, I take this about 10 drops in one capsule once a day from the midpoint in my cycle, so from when I ovulate, which is around day 14, until just before my period starts. Now, you mustn't take Dong Quai when you're on your period because it can make your periods heavier and more crampy. As it is, it will already make your periods a little more heavy, so if you have very heavy periods, it's not recommended you take this. Dong Quai is also a blood thinner, so if you have a problem with your blood clotting, you can't take this either, and it's also going to make your skin more sensitive to sunlight, so if you have a problem with that, you shouldn't take this either. Definitely go and do a lot of research before you start taking this supplement, because there are certain conditions you mustn't take it with. But for me, fortunately, I don't have those problems, so I just take it. You can actually take it from the end of your period until your next period starts, but it's not very cheap. I think it's like £12 for this bottle, but I'd say it lasts at least 6 months. 6 months supply in here. So I just take it from day 14 when I ovulate until just before my period starts, and it works for me. And this has completely stopped my period clots, and that has made a big difference because it means I don't get those strong waves of cramping. So the cramps I do get now are very mild, and they're much more tolerable because I've stopped the clotting, and there's a lot of evidence that shows this supplement works. It's an ancient Chinese herb and it's been used for thousands of years. This stuff works, trust me. So those are kind of like my main period focused supplements. I do just also want to show my omega-3 capsules, which I take. These are just by Nordic Oil. I don't take these as often because I've heard very mixed reviews about omega-3. Some people say it's really important to take and some places say it's not important at all. I do notice that I think my stomach is a little more upset, or my intestines play up a bit more if I don't take this at all. This isn't a vegan one. You can get vegan ones. I'm just using this up. But I do think once in a while taking one of these doesn't hurt, so just bear that in mind. If you have a bit of like a gurgly stomach or a sore stomach, a sore intestines, that gas again, and the other one's not working, try adding one of these capsules and it might help. And the other thing I wanted to show you is this zinc supplement. So I showed you the Bio-selenium plus zinc, and I would never take these two together. I would take one or the other. But this one is a zinc with copper and vitamin C. It's really important to take a copper supplement if you're taking zinc, because zinc it makes it difficult for your body to, what's the word? Like, you can't get as much copper if you're taking zinc. There's something to do with it, but you have to take a copper supplement if you are taking zinc as well. So I just take this once a week. I take that tablet most of the time, and then this one once a week. So the Bio-selenium 6 days a week, this on the 7th. This one is actually 30 milligrams of zinc, which is what every paper or study that I've read says you should be taking to have an effect. The only problem is, for me, I have very low stomach acid, so what happens when I take this is I usually feel very nauseous. Never ever take zinc on an empty stomach. I would always recommend that you take this when you're having food, and wait until you've eaten at least like 3/4 of your meal before you take this. That I've noticed has stopped the nausea, but I'm still a bit sensitive to this one, so that's why I don't take it too often. But if you really want to give the zinc a try, particularly if you have like fibroids or something, then maybe consider taking one like this, which is 30 milligrams. Or you could take the Bio-selenium, which has got the 15 milligram, or any zinc supplement that's 15 milligrams, and then just give it a little while. You could take that at lunch and then take the other one at dinner if you want to spread it out a bit. That just makes it easier on your stomach. Ironically, your stomach acid also needs zinc. You need zinc to produce more stomach acid, so it's kind of like a, yeah, you know, up and down to it, but it's not very pleasant to be nauseous, and I'm prone to nausea anyway, so that's why I don't take this one as often, but it does work quite well, and this one isn't too expensive, plus it has the vitamin C, which is important for like the bowel stuff. So yeah, that is what I have been taking to manage my period pain. So just to recap, the magnesium I take every single day. The Quai I only take from when I ovulate to just before my period starts, and my periods fortunately are very regular, so they are almost always actually 28 days on the dot, give or take a day or two. So I usually take this from about day 14 of my cycle till about day 26, 27, and then I stop, because you don't want to take this when you're on your period. As I said before, it will make them much heavier. The Bio-selenium I take every single day, and the omega-3 just once in a while. But I hope this video has helped you guys. It's given you some ideas of things maybe you could try if you're like me and you were just like at the end of your tether with period pain. I really understand. It sucks, I know. And as I said, I'm not claiming that this is going to cure it or anything, but this has just made it so much more manageable for me. Like I can actually work and go in and do stuff, and I don't have to worry about being terrified my period's going to start when I'm out and about and I'm going to suddenly get struck down with this agonizing pain. I know I'm going to be able to handle it now, and that is a huge thing for me, because I really didn't know whether that was going to be possible. And when I first got diagnosed with adenomyosis, the doctor was like, you're probably going to end up having a hysterectomy in several years' time. So I'm like, if I can avoid that, I will be happy. And plus, if you have endometriosis, having a hysterectomy isn't necessarily going to solve it anyway. So yeah, I hope this stuff helps. Do let me know if you do your research and you do decide to try it, if it helps you. As I said before, please don't take just my advice. Look it up, speak to a doctor, all that kind of stuff, and make sure you are able to take any of these things before you do. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Please subscribe. Don't forget you can get cloth pads and menstrual cups from my website, Precious Stars. The link is down below, and I will see you next week. Bye, everyone.